Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're uncovering the strategic reality behind corporate philanthropy. Have you ever wondered why doing good is actually tangibly good for business? Well, we are pulling back the curtain to see what companies are really doing when they throw their weight behind social causes.
So, let's kick things off with a massive question. Why on earth do giant, incredibly profit-driven companies just give away so much of their hard-earned money and resources? I mean, it's a fascinating paradox, right? Corporations are fundamentally designed to generate profit for their shareholders. That's Business 101. So when we see them actively spending millions and sometimes even billions on charitable causes, we really have to ask ourselves what's driving that behavior. Is it just pure, unadulterated altruism?
Think about it. When Google pledges $1 billion to combat global poverty, or Microsoft pays up to $6,000 for an employee's weight loss program, or Coke redesigns 1.5 billion cans just to save polar bears, is it purely out of the goodness of their hearts, or is there a brilliant hidden strategy at play? Okay, let's dive right in and find out exactly what is going on behind the scenes.
Our roadmap for today is pretty straightforward. We'll cover the new purpose of business, define social responsibility, map out the sustainability continuum, look at how strategic CSR pays off, explore the global movement, and finally, peek into the future of sustainable business.
All right, Section 1, the new purpose of business, beyond profit.
Traditionally, the foundation of a safe, functioning business was built on two main pillars. First, you had the law, which dictates the strict legal rules a company absolutely must follow. And second, ethics, which defines a company's intrinsic moral values. But today, will businesses face an even higher tier of expectation from society? Simply obeying the law and trying not to act immorally is just no longer enough to sustain a global competitive advantage.
Which brings us nicely to Section 2, defining social responsibility. Corporate social responsibility, or CSR as we'll call it, is distinctly different from just being ethical or legal. Ethics is, well, actually, it's more of a philosophical thing. It's about what you should do. Social responsibility, on the other hand, is an active strategic commitment. It means a business is consciously weighing its effects on the entire social system. We're talking customers, suppliers, employees, communities, and the environment. It's about stepping up and taking an active part in civic life.
Moving on to Section 3, the Business Sustainability Continuum.
You know, companies don't just wake up one day as socially responsible global conglomerates. It doesn't work like that. It is a highly methodical progression. A business has to secure its foundational operations first before it can strategically integrate with society at large.
Let's break down how that progression actually happens. A new business or startup first has to focus on step 1, which is just being economically viable. Let's be real, if you don't make a profit, you don't exist. Then step 2 is legal compliance. You've got to follow the rules of the road. Step 3 is ethical behavior, making sure your business acts on its promises. But to become a leading, truly sustainable global business, you have to operate at step 4, the social responsibility end of the continuum. That's where philanthropy and community focus literally become a strategic part of the core business model.
Let's hit Section 4, strategic CSR, doing good pays.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. Let's be completely pragmatic here. Does all this goodwill actually help the bottom line? Well, the numbers provide the proof. $2.71. That is the exact return on investment Johnson & Johnson saw for every single dollar they spent on their employee wellness and prevention program. By helping their team get healthier, they saved an estimated $250 million in healthcare costs over a decade. The benefits to the stakeholders didn't come at the expense of the shareholders. They were actually deployed for their ultimate advantage. Doing good literally paid off.
And hey, it's not just about saving on healthcare costs. It's heavily about who you can hire. A survey showed that a massive 70% of North American students wouldn't even apply for a job at a socially irresponsible company. No way! If you want to attract top-tier talent, keep them engaged, and actually retain them in a highly competitive global market, CSR is absolutely your secret weapon. It builds immense employee pride and loyalty.
We see this concept of strategic egoism everywhere. Unilever provides safe drinking water in Ghana and free community laundry in Brazil. Now, they aren't just doing this to be nice. They're doing it to sustain the emerging markets where 40% of their sales come from. Dow Chemical invests heavily in solar power and water treatment because there's 100% overlap between their business values and environmental values. And Toyota, they gained a massive, tangible competitive edge by pioneering clean-running hybrid cars. Good deeds produce real strategic advantages.
All right, let's look at the big picture in Section 5, the global CSR movement.
Around the world, different regions are tackling this shift in completely unique ways. In the United States, CSR is largely voluntary, spearheaded by the rise of B Corps, which legally allow directors to consider non-shareholder interests. Over in Europe, there's a strong push for market-oriented sustainability as an integral part of globalization. But India? India has taken a totally different, highly aggressive route.
That's right. Back in 2009, the Indian government made a seriously bold move. They actually mandated by law that public sector oil companies must allocate exactly 2% of their net profits directly into corporate social responsibility efforts. This isn't just a voluntary pat on the back anymore, it's a hard legal requirement to ensure businesses are actively bridging the gap of social inequality and contributing to regional advancement.
And it's not just governments forcing the issue, global consumers are absolutely demanding it. An incredible 83% of surveyed Chinese consumers stated they would flat out refuse to purchase from companies acting irresponsibly. In today's hyper-connected world, a company's performance in the market depends entirely on the society in which they operate. If consumers don't trust you, you simply won't survive. Period.
Which brings us to our final stop, Section 6, the future of sustainable business.
The future relies heavily on a concept called shared value. This was popularized by business strategists Porter and Kramer. It focuses on policies that enhance a company's competitiveness while simultaneously advancing the social and economic conditions of its community. It's basically the ultimate win-win. You solve societal needs, you improve the lives of your potential consumers, and in turn, you increase your own long-term viability and profit.
As researcher David Millen points out, strict shareholder primacy, that old idea that only the people holding the stock matter, is a completely outdated concept. Long-term prosperity is intricately tied to the well-being of all stakeholders. Think about it. If your community is failing, your business is eventually going to fail right along with it.
I'll leave you with this final, rather provocative thought to ponder. We've seen how powerful and profitable strategic social responsibility can be. And we've seen how countries like India are actually beginning to mandate it. So as we look to the future, what do you think? Should corporate social responsibility remain a strategic, voluntary choice for companies to figure out on their own? Or should it become a strict, legal requirement for all businesses across the globe? It's a massive question, and honestly, it's one that will define the next century of economics.